It's been a hot minute since U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has had the gavel, and he's already got a few plans in place, one of which relates to the funding for the IRS. The billions of dollars is planned to hire around 87,000 new armed IRS agents. Kevin McCarthy plans to move the funds to further protect the borders. President Biden visited the borders for almost 4 hours, although some critics have called out this cleanup effort that was done before he arrived. A journalist had been fired after investigating information on the treatment of disabled persons. So wait, they fired a journalist for uncovering a problem? I find problems with Social Security and SSI, SSDI all the time. Is that a bad thing now? Do you guys think that uncovering the truth and informing the public of facts should be a case to be laid off or even fired? Comment a quick yes or no down below. Also, riots are happening in Brazil with their own Congress and presidential palace getting rushed. Man, things are getting crazy out there. But before I continue, please take a second, drop a like for this video, and subscribe to the channel. That is, if you value your daily dose of the truth when it comes to Washington, D.C., Social Security, SSI, SSDI, our economy, global happenings, and everything that is affecting our families and our bank accounts. Also, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. The link is in the description down below. Hey guys, a federal judge has just ordered President Donald Trump to hand over the names of private investigators that he hired to search for classified documents in at least 2 of his properties. It was reported before that Trump's legal team hired an outside group to look for these documents, with at least 2 marked classified found at a storage unit in West Palm Beach, Florida. I guess this entire situation with the former president and his keeping of documents still isn't close to being done yet. A rush to renew passports is happening in China right now, as they fear that opportunities like these won't happen often. This has led to long queues outside their immigration offices in Beijing. Their C-19 protocols have prevented at least 1.4 billion of their own residents from traveling for at least 3 years. So I understand that they're eager to get around. Now with that, it is understandable that some countries are imposing new measures from travelers who will be coming from their country. So far, France, Greece, Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Portugal, they have all stepped up their rules in response to rising cases. President Biden has also discussed that restrictions will be applied to those coming in from China, something that their Chinese foreign ministry said they were firmly opposed to. What do you guys think? Should restrictions be placed, or should we now relax our protocols? And do you think that this is going to affect cases in our country moving forward? Now, speaking of moving forward, U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, he's already talking about his future plans. He says that he wants to be the check and provide some balance. What is he talking about? Well, he's talking about policies being placed by the president. He already has a target in mind, and it's for the funding for more than 87,000 new armed IRS agents. Kevin McCarthy plans to cancel his $80 billion funding and move it to the southern border instead. McCarthy had this to say about it: "No more ignoring this crisis of safety and sovereignty. We must secure our border." President Biden, on his part, congratulated the new speaker through a statement from the White House. Quote, "Jill and I congratulate Kevin McCarthy on his election as Speaker of the House. I am prepared to work with Republicans when I can, and voters made clear that they expect Republicans to be prepared to work with me as well." End quote. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wasn't as thrilled though. In a tweet, he said, quote, "Speaker McCarthy's dream job could turn into a nightmare for the American people. To get the votes, he surrendered the demands of a fringe element of the GOP. Americans want Congress to build on the historic bipartisan achievements from the last 2 years, not more gridlock." End quote. Now, since we've already touched on this topic, let's get to the borders. In his first visit since he took office, President Biden's time at the border, it's been greatly criticized. Why? Well, some say that state and local authorities ramped up detentions and cleaned up migrant encampments ahead of his arrival. One of the critics was the National Border Patrol Council, or the NBPC. They tweeted this recently, quote, "El Paso being cleaned up as if nothing unusual ever happened there, just in time for Biden's visit to the border," end quote. The president walked a stretch of the U.S.-Mexico border during his stay there that lasted just 4 hours. Brandon Judd, president for the National Border Patrol Council, he was not happy about the president's visit. He said, quote, "You could look across the ports of entry on the entire southwest border, and that's not where we're seeing the illegal immigration. We're seeing the illegal immigration between the ports of entry. That's the Border Patrol. That's the component of the CBP that handles all of this. He did not have any scheduled visits with them. You're not going to be able to develop true policies and programs and operations unless you're willing to see exactly what's going on." And he refused to do that, end quote. During his trip, Texas Governor Greg Abbott did meet with President Biden as he handed him a letter. Here's what part of it wrote, quote, Your visit to the southern border with Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps thousands of angry Texas property owners whose lives have been destroyed by your border policies. This chaos is the direct result of your failure to enforce the immigration laws that Congress enacted, end quote. So here's what Abbott said about this brief meeting, and said that his letter also had suggestions that would help the country's border.
If he does that, he will make enormous strides in securing our border and eliminating the illegal immigration so they can get back to the pathway of dealing with legal immigration.
The president himself has also said that the legal immigration is the way that things should be done. So I guess they agree on that. But what do you guys think? Now, there's always two sides to a coin, so I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this issue. Now, on the topic of issues, riots that are taking place in Brazil have caught global attention as world leaders condemn the attacks that are happening there. The Supreme Court actually removed the governor of Brasilia from the office over security failings that it said allowed far-right supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro to attack government buildings in the capital. The numbers were at the tens of thousands, with the Supreme Court, Congress, and the presidential palace being invaded. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has already promised to bring those who are responsible to justice. Now, when we talk about justice, that involves the truth, right? There's a lot of facts that we know right now. Prices are too high, credit card debt's creeping up on us, our cash flow, it's much weaker compared to years ago, and multiple markets are at the brink of collapse. The truth isn't always pretty, but it's what needs to be said. Do you agree? That's why I find it very weird that a journalist from West Virginia is getting fired over exposing alleged abuse of disabled people in their state's health agency. Amelia Ferry Kinsley, she was already warned about reporting on allegations against the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, but she didn't back down. This led to her being let go from her part-time job as West Virginia Public Broadcasting. According to her, quote, "I was let go of my job at WVPB last week following threats from DHHR about my reporting on DHHR's treatment of people with disability. It's crucial for the press to hold government agencies accountable. It must be emphasized that these events followed my reporting on the mistreatment of people with disabilities who are in state care." End quote. Do you guys think that holding people accountable for their mistakes should be the reason why someone gets fired from their job? Or should these people actually be exposed more to the public? You know what we need more of though? Money. Cash, dinero, a proper cash flow. Now, if you want to learn about creating side hustles and small businesses that could potentially create multiple streams of income, or maybe you're interested in investing in real estate or even the stock market, perhaps you need a little help with budgeting. If you'd like to learn more about getting your side hustle, online business, even small business started, definitely feel free to hit me up or join our Patreon community. There's a link in the description down below. But before I go, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate y'all watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Be safe.